listening to Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makadi. My name is Emmanuel Tiavia, and I have a big one in the studio. Today we're talking about citizen and Nigeria's fledgling democracy. Fledgling is a big word. Let's break it down. Fledgling means something that is still struggling, or let me say working hard. You know how when a child is trying to learn how to walk, you take steps, you fall. Sometimes, you take 2 steps and everybody, and then for 2 days you do not walk, and it's like back to square one, and sometimes ground zero. That's what our democracy is going through right now. And we have in the studio a public affairs analyst, a development enthusiast. I don't want to call him a social critic, but some may. The one and only Nick Agule. Good morning and welcome to Agate Radio this morning, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning to our listeners globally today.
And what I can tell you, dear listeners, please do call on everyone you know to stay tuned, because it's going to be a powerful conversation this morning. We'll be talking about so many interesting things and looking at your responsibility as a citizen from many angles. Later we'll take phone calls, but for now let's hit the ground running. Recently you gave a lecture at the University of Nkar, and you spoke on this paper extensively, the citizen and fledgling democracy. One thing you spoke about that is of interest to me is the concept of God's order of creation. Can you explain that to the listener this morning?
Thank you very much. So you are right. I was privileged by the Council of the University of Nkar to give a distinguished lecture at the university, and what I discussed with the students and the university community is what I have brought here today to share with the generality of Nigerians, because the citizen is part and parcel of the governance process, and if the citizens are not participating in a democracy, then evidence globally show that such democracy does not flourish. And with the experiences I have had elsewhere, I believe that as Nigerian citizens, we must stand up and fight for this democracy. And I started the lecture, like you said, with creation by God.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are Christians or who have read the Bible, humanity was created in the Garden of Eden, and I have singled out 5 key steps that were taken in that creation story. The first, of course, is that God created man and woman, and the second step is that immediately the creation of man and woman happened, God gave man and woman the law. And the third thing that happened is man and woman disobeyed the law. And then the fourth thing that happened is when God created the judiciary. In the sense that God came.
Why are you hiding naked?
God did not.
My Lord, the woman that you gave me. So there was a trial in the garden.
Exactly, there was a trial. So you are very correct. That is the judiciary being created. To say that in any human society, you shouldn't visit jungle justice on people. You must give them the opportunity to defend
the right
themselves.
of fair hearing.
As I give them fair hearing, let them defend themselves. And part of the judiciary was also sentencing. So when God gave man the opportunity to defend himself, after defending himself, God found man and woman guilty and sentenced them. And the sentence was that he was going to send them out of the Garden of Eden. And the fifth step is that God actually executed that sentence.
Enforced the law.
He enforced the law. So my concept here is that any human society that is running with these 5 steps will do well.
What are those 5 steps? Repeat.
5 steps is 1, God creates man and woman.
Humanity.
Number 2, the law. 3, is disobedience.
Mm.
4 is the judiciary. And 5 is law enforcement, the execution of the judicial sentence.
Tell us more about this narrative of the order of creation and human society.
So this is God's template to run humanity. Like I'm sitting here now, if our viewers were seeing me, I have a phone in my hand. The manufacturer of the phone provided an operating manual,
Okay.
with which I will use to get the best results out of the phone. It's the same way God, who created humanity, in these 5 steps has given the operating manual on how you can get the best out of humanity. And countries or societies that are following these 5 steps are doing well, they are prosperous, they have high standard of living, they are developed. It doesn't matter if they are religious or not.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You look at countries that are not religious at all, they are doing well because they are following these 5 steps. So any human society whatsoever, if you follow these 5 steps, you will do well. If you don't follow these 5 steps, you will not do well.
So every country, nation, every, as you put it, society that believes in humanity, being humane, regardless of the person's beliefs, orientations, or whatever, the law is actually written for the people and by the people, and where the people choose to either obey or disobey, there is the 4th component, the judiciary, that gives everybody fair hearing, and then there is the concept of law enforcement, and it's strong. You believe that society will develop regardless of whether they have 21 days of fasting at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely. That is what it is. And empirical evidence clearly shows that.
When you say empirical, you mean
what we are
raw,
seeing,
mathematical.
Practically, what we are seeing. I shared with the students at the university the countries that are top 10 countries that are doing well in the world. And I looked at their level of religiosity. And you will find out that the 10 most irreligious countries in the world occupy the top 7 best countries in the world. And I think that is something we need to take away.
I think Switzerland is the most developed country, and
yes,
they are one of the least religious, second, I think.
You are very correct.
At least that much I know.
You are absolutely very correct. I have this list here. It starts with Australia, Switzerland, Canada, Sweden, Netherlands, Germany, Norway, New Zealand, Finland, and Belgium. They are the top 10 most irreligious countries in the world. And you discover that they occupy 7 of the top 10
most developed
countries in the world, where the human development indices are high, the standard of living very high, life expectancy very high, level of education, healthcare, everything. And the reason is, if you go to these countries, these 5 steps we're talking about are in full operation.
Everybody is equal under the law.
Absolutely. So what happens is that these 5 steps must all be active for a country to develop. If you are active in 4 and even 1 is not active, you cannot develop. That is the fact. Yes. So I now shared this with the students in terms of appraising these 5 vis-a-vis Nigeria. Now, in Nigeria, the first thing is that creation of humanity, we have passed. We are more than 200 million that God has created. We have passed with A plus or first class, if you want to put it that way. Number 2, law. We have passed. Nigeria has so many laws.
One of the most beautiful constitutions.
Plenty, exactly. We have a constitution where a country like The United Kingdom does not even have a constitution.
They rule by conventions.
Exactly, but we have a constitution, so we have passed that. Number 3, disobedience. We have also passed, because there's disobedience of the law in Nigeria.
And obedience concurrently.
Exactly. Then,
matter of fact, more Nigerians obey the law than disobey.
I agree with you. I agree with you perfectly on that one, because my experience, elsewhere is that if in the UK, for instance, there's no law enforcement as it is in Nigeria, there'll be anarchy there. Yes, that's just a fact. I tell people that Nigerians are actually very law-obedient people. Because despite the fact that we don't have stringent law enforcement, life is still going on. Life will not go on in places like the UK, Germany, US, Canada, if there's no law enforcement. You can take that to the bank. So I'm back to appraising Nigeria on these 5 steps. I said number 1,
humanity.
We have passed. 200 million people have been created. Number 2, we've been given the law. Number 3, of course, there's disobedience of the law. Number 4 is judiciary. We have the judiciary. But whether the judiciary is giving people fair hearing and giving people fair sentencing is the big question. By my own assessment, we are not doing well on the judiciary side of things. And then number 5, which is law enforcement, the enforcement of the law in Nigeria, again, we have not passed. So Nigeria is doing well.
So what would you grade us empirically out of 5? How many is it 5 over 5, 4 over 5?
So out of 5, we have passed on number 1, creation of humanity. We have passed on the law. We have passed on disobedience. We are failing on the judiciary, and we are failing on law enforcement.
3 over 5.
And that is why Nigeria is pinned down where we are today.
And you did posit earlier that even if you do well in 4 and fail in 1, you will not develop.
Correct.
And in our own case, it's even more than 1.
Yeah, we're failing in 2. And that is why we're not doing well. So if you go to a place like Switzerland, which you rightly said is the top best developed country in the world, you will see all 5 in operation. All 5. Because there, the judiciary is not going to look at any face. It's going to come squarely down on you. As our listeners will testify, currently in the U.S., the president is under trial. The former president is under trial.
It's under trial, yes.
The president's son, the incumbent president's son is under trial. So that's a judiciary that also...
And nobody is saying he's from our village. Why are you prosecuting him? If it is people from another village, you will not...
Thank you, exactly. And that is where the role of the citizens comes in, whereby we came together under our constitution to surrender our individual rights to political leaders, to say, run these 5 steps for us. And we sit back and see the political leaders mismanaging these 5 steps. And we don't seem to be doing anything about it. And that is where the role of the citizen becomes very important in the development of our democracy. Because you can take it to the bank. So long as we are not doing these 5 steps, it's never going to work for us in Nigeria.
Well, should we then abandon religion? Because from this empirical data that we have before us, it does seem like countries that are religious don't do well on the Human Development Index. So should we jettison our faiths and then say, okay, religion has now worked for us. Let's go our own way?
Not at all.
Okay.
I'm not advocating that. Because remember that we said that of the top 10 most irreligious countries in the world, they occupy top 7 of the most developed countries in the world. So there are 3 slots
that
in that
are
top
occupied
10
by
most
religious
developed
countries.
that are occupied by religious countries.
Okay.
And number 5 on the list is the United States of America.
Very religious.
Very religious, highly developed. You also have Japan. Highly religious, well
Shintoism.
developed. Then number 9 on that list is the United Kingdom. where the king is actually the head. The
of
king
the church
occupies both a political
and the religious
leadership and religious leadership, because he's the head of the
Church of England, that we call the Anglican Church.
The Anglican
Nigeria.
Church. But the United Kingdom is also highly developed. So indeed, we have religious countries that are highly developed. What is common, whether you are religious or irreligious, is that you are following the 5 steps.
Okay.
So even if you are religious and you are following the 5 steps, you will develop. That is just what it is. Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. Dear listener, don't forget that at 1:30, we'll open the phone line so that if you have any questions for discussing this morning, Nick Agule, you can ask him. Briefly, let's segue talking about some of your personal efforts. The Nick Agule Foundation is heavily involved in community development efforts, and we'd like to know a little bit about it before we return to the crux of our matter today, which is the citizen and our fledgling development.
Thank you very much. So, Agule Foundation is my way of appreciating the society that brought me up, that was kind to me. I grew up in Benue. I specifically grew up in Boko, and I went to school in Boko. Here in Makudi, I went to school. I went to government college. I went to the former School of Basic Studies, and I say in my mind that after I finished school, I was working for myself and for my family, because I was working for international oil companies, sometimes not even in Nigeria. I was looking after myself and my family. But now in retirement, I made a conscious decision that I was going to give back to this society that has given me so much. This society that gave me my life, gave me the education, cared for me. And the Agule Foundation is that platform that I'm using to give the little that I have, my widow's mite, back to society. And it's a commitment I have made that I continue to do until the day God says my time in this earthly drama has come to an end.
Okay. Thank you so much for letting us know a little bit about Nick Agule Foundation. We will take details of how people can contact you and also be part of the good work that the foundation is doing. But let's talk more about, there is this concept I've heard you promote over time, the 4th arm of government. We know that we have the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. So is there a 4th arm of government that we're not aware of?
Yes, I had a really good time with the students at the University of Nkara on this one. So I asked them what are the arms of government, and they were right to give me the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. But I now drew their minds to the fact that there is actually a 4th arm of government.
Okay.
And that 4th arm of government is the citizen arm of government, the people arm of government. And as the Constitution provides for the powers, duties, and responsibilities of the other 3 arms of government, the same Constitution also provides the powers, the duties, and responsibilities of this 4th arm of government, the people arm of government. And the first thing we have to realize is that our Constitution begins with the words, "We, the people of Nigeria, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity and harmony as one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign nation under God." That means all of us, by this Constitution, have surrendered our individual sovereignties to a sovereign Nigeria. And this sovereign Nigeria is governed by political leaders. So it's very important.
But it is we the people.
It's we the people.
That give them legitimacy.
It is we the people, having surrendered our individual sovereignties, that now give legitimacy to these leaders to run this thing for us. And I want our listeners to please try and understand this. The governor of Benue State is our servant. He's a public servant. The president of Nigeria is our servant. He's a public servant. They are running Benue State and Nigeria on our behalf. We have it. We own it. This is ours. And it's just like you have a business and you bring in a manager to run it for you. That manager is not above you. That manager is responsible to you. That manager cannot run the business hiding anything from you, because this thing belongs to you. And by the very words of the Constitution, you see that Nigeria belongs to us Nigerians. And these public servants are actually just like our stewards who are running this on our behalf. And it behoves on us to ask of them due accountability, and not just to sit down docile and look at them and say whatever they want to do, let them do it. And worst of all is to even support them to ruin the Nigeria that we have handed over to them to run. So that's what the Constitution says. I mean, we the people, having now come together, are the ones that own this entity called Nigeria. And it seems to me in Nigeria that this reality is lost on us. It's lost on us as a people, where we think that the government is a sovereign over us and we are the servants. Whereas it's the other way around. We are the shareholders, and the political leaders are our servants. You know. So this to me is the key to the promotion of our democracy, the flourishing of our democracy, and this fourth arm of government is expected to work in collaboration with the other three arms of government.
Okay, that brings me, that segues beautifully into the next question I was, eager to chomp at the bits and ask you, which is, how can I, as a citizen, be part of the governance process beyond just elections? Because we feel like the only place we have, from my own layman's observation, because it does appear to me that you have been involved, or you have studied this for a very long time, because you are coming out with salient points that some of us have not really thought about. Like even the concept of the fourth arm of government is something that many, even maybe within the academia, have not really paid attention to say, wait. In a democratic setting, this fourth arm is even the most powerful arm. Beyond the elections, how can citizens participate in governance, the governance process?
You are very correct. And you are so correct in what you have said, because in Nigeria, the owners of Nigeria, the citizens, only believe that election time is the time they participate in the governance process. And after elections, they sit back and wait for the next electoral cycle. And my sitting here today is to try and bring to the fore this gap. I would say it's a gap in our governance process. The fourth arm of government, the citizen or people arm of government, is expected to accompany these servants of ours from the beginning of their tenures to the end of their tenures. And the Constitution provides us the powers to do that. So the first power the Constitution provides us, of course, is the power to recruit these people. We have to start looking at this thing from the employer-employee perspective. We, the people of Nigeria, are the employers. The political leaders are our employees. So with that perspective, I'm thinking our listeners will begin to think more deeply about the relationship between us, the fourth arm of government, and the other three arms of government. So take it that the election cycle is the interviewing process. So the job is advertised for president, governor, National Assembly, State Assembly, local government, and all of that. People now apply. When they apply, we, the employers, at the elections, choose the candidates that we want to give the job to.
Yes.
So that is to show you that we have a more powerful role, because if we don't choose you, you can't get the job. And after we choose you, meaning every citizen of Nigeria who has attained the age of 18 years shall be entitled to vote for the office of the president, the governor, the National Assembly, the State Assembly, and the local government. So that is, we are empowered by the Constitution to do that. And after we have voted the leaders, our job has not ended. The same Constitution provides us the right to recall members of the state legislature. So in section 69 of the Constitution, the citizen arm of government is empowered to recall members of the legislature, whether at the national or at the state. So what is happening here is that, for instance, we have elected a president, and we notice that the president is not delivering for us. The Constitution empowers our representatives, who are the members of the National Assembly, to remove that president. So we are not expected to be boxed in with him for 4 years. We are not expected to feel as if we have entered one chance for 4 years. We are expected to get him out of office because he's not doing well, and bring in someone who can do well for us. And it is the National Assembly who are empowered to do that. If the members of the National Assembly aren't doing that, then we, the people who sent the members of the National Assembly to the chambers, are expected to bring them home.
And send back people that will do our bidding.
Put the people who can do our bidding back there. So you can see that the power is actually with us, the fourth arm of government. And this is provided for in the Constitution. And the same thing applies at the state. The same thing applies at the local government. You know, then apart from that, the Constitution as a fourth arm of government provides us our rights. So in chapter 4 of the Constitution, we have the right to life, the right to dignity of the human person, right to personal liberty, right to fair hearing. There are all sorts of rights that we have, you know. And the Constitution not only just provides us the rights, it also provides us the social objectives, which is that every citizen shall have equality of rights, obligation, opportunity before the law. Every citizen, you know. So we will come to appraise all this and see whether we are doing well in them or not. And we expect governmental actions to be humane. See, the Constitution talks about governmental actions to be humane. You ask if that is the case as we see today. You know, and then of course the Constitution provides for the independence, impartiality, and integrity of courts of law, which we as citizens are expected to monitor. So if we see things are happening in the judiciary and we aren't happy with what is happening in the judiciary, it's the president and the governors that appoint members of the judiciary. For me, that's an anomaly, because that doesn't suggest the independence.
In other democracies, judiciaries are even elected.
Exactly.
In countries like the U.S.
Exactly.
The Attorney General's position is an elective position.
Exactly.
And the president is independent from the governor.
Even the position of Attorney General, like if it was in the U.S., Governor alias Attorney General will be elected. And it's possible that the Attorney General can
be from another political party, yes.
Yes, from the governor.
Yes. You know, and then the police will be under him.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You know.
So law enforcement is independent from the judiciary and from the legislative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just get this right. And you see, we're going to come to this. But the point here is that in the United States, as you are mentioning, or in the UK, Germany, France, Canada, anywhere, it's the people who don't tolerate anything that is not going right with their countries. The citizens are up in arms with their leaders on a daily basis.
You must serve us.
Exactly, because they are our servants. You cannot be a master of a home and you see your servant scattering your house, you understand, packing your things and selling them off and all of that, and you are sitting outside saying nothing. So this is to bring to
So
Nigerians
beyond elections, citizens have a responsibility to demand for good governance.
Yeah.
And the Constitution provides for legitimate means to draw the ears, so to say, of those in power.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time now for us to start taking calls. We'll continue the conversation, but the phone lines are open for those of you who have questions and brief contributions. Please, if you have any contribution, less a minute or less, so that others can also be part of this program, since we don't have too much time. The number to call is 081-4335-9292. That's 081-4335-9292. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir. My name is Joe Gundu. I'm calling from here in Makodi.
Joe Gundu, good morning, my brother.
Yes.
How are you?
We're doing fine, thank you. My little contribution is that what the master is saying, the CDO is very correct. But we in Nigeria here, most of us know our rights. But the problem is that our leaders doesn't listen to us. For instance, if you go out for a protest, they will send military people or security agencies to come and destroy you there. Recently,
but Joe, just so that we draw the ears of other listeners, we are not calling for. Nick Agule is not calling for protests. Are you calling for protests?
No, I'm not. No, wait. What he's actually saying is that if you go to other countries for the world and the leaders are not doing the right thing, the citizens go out for peaceful demonstration or protest.
No. He has not said that.
But I'm just trying to tell you what they do there. That's the reason why he's saying that they are the masters and those people in the position of authority are the servants. But we here, our leaders take themselves as the leaders. Then we, the led, are usually classified as people who are nothing before the society.
Okay.
But once those people go out there for short protest, for demonstration, their servants listen to them and do what they are protesting for. But here in Nigeria, they doesn't listen to us. For instance, how many times Labour has gone for strike in this country without any result?
Right.
So that's the problem here. Not that we doesn't know our rights. We know our rights. But that opportunity of talking to the leaders is not given to us. Once we begin to talk that, they will start speaking languages like unconstructive criticism and whatsoever, and begin to talk about these languages on them.
All right, thank you so much.
They doesn't listen to the right thing that you are talking about. Look at the radio programs you do make on the radio. Do they listen to what? Are they listening to what we are saying now? They don't, and they're not ready to do the right thing. So that's the problem we have here. Not that we didn't know our rights. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joe Gundu. Joe says they do not listen. Should that make us stop?
No, that shouldn't make us stop. So, Joe, thank you very much for your contribution. I'm actually very happy to interact and engage with you as a fellow citizen. Let me agree with you that Nigerian leaders are intolerant of our protest. And if you go out to protest, they are likely going to visit force upon us. As we saw in the NSAS, they can kill in their hundreds. They don't care. But there's something I also shared with the university students at MCA. I said, these days, we are lucky that we have something called social media. And social media can take our protest out there to
our advocacy
without us leaving our rooms or where they are. Like I told the students, I said, look, sometimes we come to hear stories on news like 100 people killed in Plateau State, 30 people killed in Sankara and all of that. And they don't seem to do anything about it. We just hear it, absorb it, and probably just wait for the next killing. And I say, look, you can hold a vigil on your campus. Hold a vigil. Social media will take that vigil straight to the leaders, and they will see that you at this university are not happy what is happening. And the same thing will be the case if we in Benue do the same thing. I give them an example. You recall that at the beginning of the year, there was, I would say, a harmless tag on X, the former Twitter.
We no go agree for anybody.
On Twitter, this thing was just trending on Twitter. It got into our leaders. The next day, the police said, we are banning this thing, we are banning this thing. Can't you see how effective a protest, even on social media, can be? So it is that the response by the police was a clear case, a clear demonstration.
So that disproves Joe Gundu's postulation that they do not listen. They actually listen.
They are listening. And so why are we not advocate that we should go on street protests? Because they are likely going to be met with brutal force.
And the protest can also be seized by negative
other miscreants, and even can be seized by the political leaders who sponsor people to go and infiltrate the protest and turn the protest into something else, and then make that a case for why they will now go and suppress it with brutal force. We can use other means. Social media is there for us.
For advocacy.
Yes.
For advocacy. I think that's the main message you are trying to pass across, that citizens have a responsibility to keep advocating for good governance.
Absolutely.
Don't be quiet. Don't accept the normal if it's not normal. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. My name is Oradwan Amos. I'm calling from here in Makodi.
Oradwan, good morning.
Morning, please. Thank you, Agate Radio. Thank you for the guest in the studio.
Thank you very
much. Hello,
can
you hear me? Can you hear me?
He can
yes,
hear
I can
you.
hear you.
All right. I think your analysis are very good. But the truth I've been listening to you for quite a long time, and I can hear the guest analysis. He analyzed quite good. But I read in George Orwell's Animal Farm, whereby George Orwell was trying to portray what was happening in Nazi Italy that very time. That all animals are equal, but other animals are more equal than others. I don't really know. That is what play in Nigeria. I don't really know. Because you get to understand that things really happen where sometimes justice delay. In the course of the guest analysis, he made mention whereby in America, the Attorney General is elected, and it will be from a different political party, not minding the political party, because in America I learned a Republican and a Democrat. But unlike Nigeria, it doesn't apply like that. Well, I am not on the same page with Gundu. They are listening, the authorities are listening, and they have the channels where they can offer solutions to those problems. But I don't really know what it is what George Orwell portrayed in all animals are equal, but other animals are more equal than others. That is what really I don't know. Secondly, in Nigeria, the past administration, because I cannot be categorical mentioning them because it is not advisable, but I heard of hate speech. I was like, what exactly have you done? What exactly is the symbiotic relationship between me and you that you're not doing the right thing, that I hate you? So constructive criticism should be accepted. But you don't just corner by bringing out that we are doing hate speech or hate speech. That's my contribution for the program. Thank you very much. I get radio.
Thank you, Joe Gundu. Have a great morning. Joe Gundu is advocating for constructive criticism, that political class should learn to accept it. Would they accept it, or would have to change the narrative?
So the truth of the matter is that political leaders globally, I'm not only in Nigeria,
yes,
they will most likely not hear or adhere
or hug you for constructing them.
Thank you. You push them into it. You must have to push them into it. So I showed the students at UMCA, I showed them a slide where there was a case in the UK where Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister then. His media advisor broke the COVID rules.
The restrictions.
Yeah, the restriction. But he traveled. His home was up north, so he traveled from London up north, and within no time, MPs, that is members of Parliament, received over 180,000 emails from their constituents complaining about this.
Well, you know there are consequences. This 180,000 are definitely going to vote against you if you do not act.
Thank you.
The law of consequences and the actions.
This is the point. So, like I asked the students, I
don't want to interrupt you, but this is interesting. Politicians are human beings. They react when they know that if they do not act, they would lose at the polls.
Absolutely. So that is the point. This our democracy. We will only begin to enjoy it when we have pushed the politicians or the political leaders to a place where every of their action will be based on our mood. They are looking at our mood before they take any action.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, sir. Please, I want to make a comment on this program. I love the program so
What
much.
is your name, sir?
Okay, my name is Andrew. I'm calling you from International Market.
Andrew who?
Andrew Kwaza.
Andrew Kwaza. Oyaza?
Yes, sir. Yeah, talking of the citizens' rights, not as if the citizen doesn't know their rights, but if you want to do anything, you check the powers behind you. Like if we talk of the citizens of Nigeria or the citizens of Benin State, you check the powers behind them. Anything you want to do, you check. Now, the citizen here, what is the power behind them? If you want to do anything, the law is not on our side. Those people, they are the lawmakers. They can amend it at any time it pleases them. So the judiciary is not on our side. Okay, talk of the insecurity. We don't have anything. Who will you run to? This country, we are just stranded. Like the citizens don't know anything. Like we don't have anything backing up. So if you want to contest or you want to protest against one who is more superior than you, on what ground will you stand? Because they have everything in their control. So now, if we don't know our rights, we know the truth. The only thing is we are looking on to God, and maybe one day God will come down and then He will do something for the common man in Nigeria. Because those people, from what we are looking, everybody knows. You say we should go to the media. Maybe before you know, you start posting things on the media. Before you know, 1212 like that. They say, where is this person coming from? Before you know, you don't hear of such person again. So we know all these things, but we're always praying to God that one day He'll just touch you, bring somebody that He'll make the law will be on our side. Because if you have the law on our side, maybe our voice will be heard out there. Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Yes.
Andrew Kwaza from International Market. Maybe, Chief, we need to talk about leadership selection. Because the people are complaining that from the summary of the gist is most of our callers feel that our leaders are inhumane. How do we choose good leaders? And how do we know good leaders? Let's start from that selection process.
Yes, before I come to that, which is quite valid, a question you have asked, I'd like to respond to Andrew to say that we shouldn't give up. Because he says we should just wait on God.
We have nowhere to run.
Exactly. And I want him and all Nigerians to draw inspiration from civil rights movements like in South Africa.
The anti-apartheid
for over
move.
50 years, those guys were fighting day and night. This thing is a marathon. It's not a sprint until they got the results. And like I was saying, these days, the social media is the street. Usually you take a protest to the street because you want to draw attention to the cause.
Even the anti-open grazing law, it started from the streets actually. Social media advocacy.
Yes, so imagine, I'm just giving Andrew an example. Imagine that we hear this kind of news, 100 people killed in one Plateau community. And the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, says all students in tertiary institutions in Nigeria should dress in black and sit down in their campuses. Social media will carry that to the leaders to say the students of Nigeria are not happy with the insecurity situation in the country. As we speak today, students in Benin State University are at home for the umpteenth time on a strike action. And it doesn't seem as if anything is happening. Even the parents can organize some sort of social media campaign to kind of show their disapproval of what is happening to their children. Because nothing like that is happening. So,
by the way, in the last circle of the general elections, a particular candidate came from a third force, left the conventional parties. Let me mention his name, Peter Obi. It was people on social media, is it not, sir?
Yeah.
Who came together and formed his structure. Yeah. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, a party that barely existed before the elections came third or so in general elections. And
they won 12 states.
Yes. So you can't tell me that if people galvanize themselves together, they can't get results.
They will get results.
You don't need to start carrying placards.
No, you don't need to start carrying placards. The social media now is our placard. I can assure you that. And I'm bringing this to the fore for Nigerians to see that social media provides us the street, the placard, the platform, everything. We should just get there, and the leaders are going to see our message. Because you carry placard because you wanted to see your message. The social media is now your placard. But what we mustn't do is to sit down and wait on God. Because God has given us everything. So if I go to the question you asked about the leadership selection.
Let's take this call from... Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
I want to appreciate my guest in the studio there.
Thank
you. Sir, you have spoken well.
Thank you.
This is Agata also, Paul at Ajusanyima.
Agata also.
Yes, Makodi.
How are you?
I love this topic, but today it will serve as an eye-opener to all the masses, because many did not know that such powers, we the citizens have such powers to arrest our servants to accountable. But today, the guest in the studio has opened our eyes beyond reasonable doubt. Like me today, I have discovered much from this topic. But sir, I want to tell you that we Nigerians, we are smart when it comes to we want to use our criminal sense to deal with the masses. The politicians have decided to seize the judiciary and the security. They own the security, and if any time such thing is about to happen, a clear demonstration is about to take shape, they send the security.
But I got at the Gata also on this program we are saying we are not asking for people to hit the streets. There are alternative and more effective methods of advocacy which we have repeated over and over and over and over.
Yes. So now, after the whole thing is done, can the judiciary give us the masses fair hearing if we can advocate on our social media and these people have gotten to a point that the judiciary will come in? Will the judiciary give us fair hearing? Because in his topic, he made mention of in America, you see, 200 and how many minutes in a week, and then that caught attention of the government. But in Nigeria here, such thing happen will call any attention. So that is where I want to know, will the judiciary, if now they demonstrate on the social media and they discover that either the governor or the president should call to attention, will the judiciary give us fair hearing? Thank you.
Thank you, Agata also. So before Agata also called, you were talking about leadership selection.
Yes, so the leadership selection is actually where it starts. That's a proactive step, because it is better for us to get the right leaders in place. Instead
it reduces our work
and
trying to fix.
Trying to change them with protests and things like that. So to find out who are the right leaders for us, I have the 5 C's of leadership that you must look out for: compassion, competence, capacity, character, and courage. And that first one, compassion, is really the most important, because a leader that is compassionate, whose heart breaks on seeing the sufferings of the people, is the one that will have the courage to move against any forces that are stopping him from developing the state or the country or the local government. And so there's a problem that citizens in Nigeria have, in the sense that me and you are here relating very well. I don't know where you come from, you don't know where I come from, but we are all working together. When politicians come into our midst, they will start bringing in divisions on ethnic lines, on religious lines, on party lines, or any other divide, because they believe that is where they will break our resolve, they will break our unity, and then make inroads and scatter us and then get on with what they want to do. So we Nigerians, if we want a doctor, we go to the best doctor. We don't care from where he comes from. If you want to buy a car, you go to the best dealer. If you want to go...
You don't bother about the religion or the tribe.
But when it comes to...
Matter of fact, at times in business, you see a Christian preferring to work with a Muslim and vice versa.
Correct. But when it goes to electing leaders, that is when we now start saying, I will not vote for this man because he's not...
Like an Igbo man will say in Team Gunkan.
Thank you. Thank you. So that is one thing that we must jettison. If we want Nigeria to develop, if we want to enjoy Nigeria, then we have to recruit our leaders based on these 5 C's: compassion, competence, capacity, character, courage, regardless of where they come from, which local government they belong to, or which religion they worship. And I have a graph here which I shared with the students. In the last year's election, general election, there were 87 million people that collected their voters card. But only 24 million came out to vote. So we as citizens are not exercising,
we are not exercising even the small power we have.
Exactly. The fourth arm of government seems to be sleeping.
Hello?
Leaving the other three arms of government to carry on as they like.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Engineer Dana Tai from Pararafa Quarters.
You are our last caller for the day, engineer.
All right, thank you very much. I think I like what your guest analyst in the studio is saying.
He's our guest, all of us. We are hosting him together.
Yes. Again, I want to correct one statement that the people are the fault in the realm of democracy. I think it's the media that is the fault. Then the people defeat in the cadre of democratic. So the media is the fault in the realm of democracy. Okay. Anyway,
but the media does not vote too.
The media is part
no,
of
we're talking about citizenship and accountability.
Okay.
How citizens' right and citizenship. So when in mass communication, we did citizenship, isn't it? And then you discover that there are so many rights.
In a democratic society, there is what is called the realm of the estate. That is where we have the fourth estate, which is the media. But in a democratic process, if you look at it critically, constitutionally recognized groups, the media is not there.
The media ought to be there. It's only in Nigeria that the media is not.
There is no democratic society in the world that formally mentions the media as part of the constitutionally statutory powered empowered bodies to have any role in this thing. And by the way, the people are the media.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now you are coming to the point why the media took that space because the media speak for the people. But nowadays, the media is being gagged so that the media will not speak for the people. Just like he said, social media.
But here we are speaking for you now. We are not gagged. Did anybody stop us from...
There are certain things you wouldn't want me to speak even on your channel.
No. It's not about gagging. Let me explain something for a few seconds. It's not about... No, it's not about... It's not about gagging.
Laws of the broadcast code.
Good.
You understand? It's gagging.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's
responsible journalism. That's one. 2, we have a role to maintain order and civil rule in the society. So we must not promote certain things.
It is only the media that tries to do that. But the politicians, I'm a politician too.
Okay.
But I'm a small one. The politicians don't maintain the rules. They don't try to play by the rules to maintain status quo, unity, peace, and progress in the society.
Thank you so much for commending us, the media. Thank you.
Okay, so it should not be one-sided. It should not be only the people at the receiving end. It should not be. It should not be only the people trying to do the right thing. It should not be. If we have law, we have constitution, like a compass that drives a nation. Now we have elected you, we have voted you.
Okay, engineer, our time is spent. We need to wrap it up now. I apologize deeply.
All right. Just to wrap it up, like you said, I think the Nigerian citizens, we need some level of citizenship benefit. I learned Mr. President introduced one which did 2 days ago, but it is also constitutional that Social Security be extended fastly. And indirectly, one of these rights, like the subsidy, has been removed, so many other power and so on.
All right, thank you so much, Dan. Thank you so much, Dan. We must go now. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, our time is fast spent. The phone lines are still buzzing, and it's time for us to leave the studios. 1 hour is very short. Maybe next time we book for 3 hours so that we can have a more robust engagement on this subject matter. Any parting words for the people out there?
Okay, so I have a few parting words. The first is that as Nigerians, this democracy belongs to us, and we have to fight for it because we cannot do better than our country. You know, there's nobody that can do better than Nigeria is doing. If Nigeria is not doing well, we all are not going to be doing well. If we think we are doing better, you'll be surprised how Nigeria will happen to you. When I speak to young people these days, all of them have Japa on their minds. So whether you Japa or you stay, remember that Nigeria is here, our country, and our parents are here, siblings are here, friends are here. So we must never leave the fight for Nigeria just because we want to Japa. I leave us with the last 10, which is what is called the Stockholm Syndrome, which is where those who are suffering oppression actually love their oppressors. And that is one thing that seems to be happening in Nigeria, where a lot of us buy our data and we go on social media attacking those who are asking for good governance from our leaders. If you don't want to fight for the democracy of this country, Nigeria, please do not be supporting these leaders who are delivering almost nothing to us. President Obama says if we want democracy to flourish, we have to fight for it.
All right, thank you so much, Nick Agule, for being with us today on Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM, Makdi. And my name is Emmanuel Tiavia. We had a 1 hour conversation. Kudos to you, our dear listener, for being part of this very wonderful interaction. Greetings to our General Manager, Igba Agule. We'll do this again some other time. But for now, cheers and good morning.